Hey guys, Mike from Wrestling Then and Now. Thanks so much for checking out the YouTube channel and my great Gagne clips. If you're a wrestling figure collector, you got to support the company that Greg Gagne is a part of. You have to go right now to powertownwrestling.com, powertownwrestling.com, and you also need to go to thewrestlingcollection.com. Check out these unbelievable wrestling figures, the quality, the appearance. You have to see it to believe it. Go check it out. There's pre-sales going on right now. Go grab yourself one today. Let me ask you this: what do you think? I'm sure you've been asked this before, but what do you think the AWA could have or should have done different to stay in the game a little longer, or is it just something? There's
You
no,
you
there's no fighting.
couldn't.
Mm,
Vince targeted the AWA because we had the talent. We had the major cities. And we were running from Winnipeg to St. Louis to the West Coast. And we had all those major buildings. At one time, when I ended up working with WCW, I told them, guys, if you want to beat McMahon, there's one thing you need to do. We get Hogan. You've got Flair, you got the NWA champion. We talk to Verne, get the rights to the AWA, and Hogan can come in and win the AWA belt. I said, Vince is struggling a little bit because there's a style in New York and there's a style in the AWA. Ours was wrestling. Verne had that background, and you had to be able to wrestle or you weren't going to make it there. Prime example. And Pedro Morales is a great friend and a great guy. And he was the world champion in New York. And I think TA said it best. They were a punch and kick style.
sure.
In the AWA, you had to wrestle.
Right.
So Verne would send people up to Vince and they would wrestle Bruno and sell the joint out. He would send us people and they never made it past the third match on the card because it was a different style that people didn't. They were used to wrestling and watching wrestling, and now they got punching and kicking, which we did. I mean, you had the crusher in them, but they were surrounded by other people that all the other matches were wrestling. And he had a real tough time. And they all did that came from New York. But our people went up there. I know I wrestled a match up there with God, wait,
You wrestled Johnny Rods.
Johnny Rods. We wrestled 14 minutes and we had the people standing. And I came out of the ring and Vince Sr. says to me, what was that? That was wrestling. And he said, well, how are my guys going to follow it? That's their problem. But that was the difference. And all we did was go in and had a match and sold and made a comeback, you know. But it was just that style was a little different than what Verne, because of his background, everybody came in there. You had a couple that couldn't, Crusher, but they worked around that. And you had all the great guys for him to work with, the Ray Stevens and the Nick Bockwinkel's, and even Mad Dog Vachon. Mad Dog was an amateur wrestler, and he could go if he wanted to, but he would just beat the crap out of you no matter what. Yeah, he was a personality like I can't even explain. The scariest guy I've ever been around in my life. I would see my dad come home and he had bite marks and scratches on him. So now I got to wrestle Mad Dog in Minneapolis. And I said, Dad, what do I do with this guy? He says, hit him twice as hard as he hits you. Then what? Then good luck. What? so I go out and Mad Dog hit me with this open hand, and it was like a cement block. You could feel it down in your feet when he hit you. Oh God, man, I hit him back. And about the third time I hit him right over the ear and he lost his equilibrium. So I grabbed a leg and I took him down. I took a deep breath, and as I took the breath, he goes down my back, my whole back. Oh my God. So I wrestled about 20 some minutes. I get back in the locker room and Brunzel's sitting there, and we had separate locker rooms, and I'm bleeding and Jim's laughing. And I said, shit, you got him Friday night in Denver. So good luck. And all of a sudden, Mad Dog kicks open the door. And I go, oh my God. He had battles in the line. I go, here we go. So I stand up and I got one hand on the chair and I'm looking at him and he's doing one of these. I'm going, oh shit. And he goes, I respect you. Shook my hand. Well, I almost filled my pants right there. But out the door we went. So
Wow.
Brunzel gets him in Denver on Friday. So he says to me, well, what did your dad tell you to do? I said, he told me to hit Mad Dog twice as hard as he hits you. And what? And good luck. So Jim goes up there and Mad Dog backs him in the corner. Mad Dog hits him and Jim hits him and Mad Dog hits him again and Mad Dog says harder. And Jim hits him again and the third time hits him right on the chin. And the next thing Jim knew, Mad Dog hooked him in the mouth, swung him around and fired him out he went through the ropes right down on the floor. And he was laying there and he sees a shadow. And Mad Dog jumps off the apron, both feet into his stomach, loses all the wind, grabs him by the mouth, throws him back in the ring, gets him in the ring. He gets a reverse chin lock on him. He says, not that hard. So Jim came back all bloody and cut up and scratched up. And I just sat and smiled at him.
That's a great story. Oh crap, that's a great story. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, we had some personalities. I mean, I could tell you stories about these guys all day long. I mean, these road stories, can't even believe some of the stuff they did. Yeah, it was classic, but that was the Mad Dog. He respected you as long as you fought him back.
Greg, how do you want the AWA and the name Verne Gagne to be remembered?
Well, it should be remembered as the AWA was the place everybody wanted to be. It was first class. It was run professionally. It was run with a stern hand for sure. You had to do it the way he wanted it done. And he brought in all the best talent. And he built that empire. When he bought into the wrestling in about 1960 in the Minneapolis, his job was to expand the wrestling TV network. They were on in Minneapolis and Omaha. And he expanded that thing from across Canada. We were on TSN, and Winnipeg was our major city, but it went across Canada. And then from Winnipeg to St. Louis to the West Coast, we ran about everything in between there. And we just, he gave his guys time off, which was really important to him to have some family life. And everybody, he only had 16, 18 guys in the territory, and they all made money. And it was the premier place. Everybody wanted to come to the AWA, and they didn't want to leave once they got there. I guess that's the legacy that he built